Michael Hernandez here of MLH Media, and we are here 3 days away from 559 Fights 102. And man, we got the main event here. Jose Aguniga, how you feeling today, my man?
Doing great, man. What about
Hey,
you?
you're gonna. I'm doing pretty well, man. Getting to talk to somebody that has a very high profile in the flyweight scene. Now moving up to that 135 spot. Talk to us about that decision. What exactly went into it? Was it the opportunity to come fight over here for that belt? Or what exactly got you to move up to that bantamweight division?
I was on that 559 belt, and the minute I heard the belt, I didn't really care what weight. After that, I just waited for my coach to go, and he agreed.
And you're going to be fighting on December 22nd. Got your teammate Enoch McCottrell fighting as well on the 23rd. How is it to kind of have your teammate fighting on that next card on the pro level, a level that you want to try and reach one day, a level that you're obviously aspiring for with that 3-0 record?
I'm not gonna lie, it's amazing. I'm not. Don't get me wrong, I do miss him in the amateurs, and we'll fight the same day, but it's amazing, dude. Like, because the last time he got to fight a week later. So instead of a week later, he's fighting the next day after me. So we ain't gotta worry. I ain't gotta worry about coming in practice next week, making sure he's all warmed up and everything. Cause last
Yeah.
fight, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got injured right after my foot got swollen up.
Wow. Yeah. So doing with the little bit of those fight week hiccups, obviously a lot of things going into that fight camp and a lot of work going into it on both sides for not only you but for Enoch as well, preparing for that professional fight after that kind of whole hiccup with the first one. But talking to you a little bit more about your career, you got a first round submission in your last fight out there, got on the back, were able to get that rear naked choke. Can you walk us through that performance? What exactly was the game plan going into that fight against Paul Fur, a man that has obviously a lot of power in those hands? What exactly was going into that fight? What was the game plan with you and your coaches?
My that game plan, the fight was just trying to maintain my stand up game, but that didn't work. So I had to freaking we had a stand up plan, but I don't know. I got a little emotional and I just freaking threw that plan out the way. And next thing you know, we're just brawling it out. And then after, well, I just thought about wrestling it through. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I
Yeah.
threw away that plan. It was on me on that one. But
Yeah, you guys were definitely throwing hands in there early. It felt like you guys were going at it pretty early. I feel like you definitely try to set that tone a lot early in your fights. You try and establish that dominant, that pace early, especially in your first fight against Masao Kustin. You were very, very quick to pressure. Is that something that you kind of want to put the rest of the people on notice in your division about? It's like, hey, I'm gonna come into this fight and I'm gonna come pressuring you.
yeah, that's something I want people to know. I want people to know that I'm very dominant in the sport. Like yeah, I just want to be known as dominant.
I see that Kalinga high school sweater. Is it from wrestling? You have a little bit of wrestling background over there.
Yeah,
It's pretty evident in those fights.
yeah. The team that made me right here. Freaking I did a lot. I started wrestling back when I was in fourth grade, so it built up with me. I started fighting at 13, so the both of them combined together, it helped my wrestling a lot.
So this has always kind of been in the shadows, always been in the dreams for you to eventually climb to this MMA level. Even though you were doing wrestling, you were still training that MMA. So you've always kind of been wanting to go to that level eventually of hitting to the 559 fights and then eventually hitting that pro scene. Has that kind of always been the plan for you, or was it just kind of like, hey, let's try it out?
Nah, it's always been the plan. It's always been the plan since I was like maybe 14, maybe. But I'm not gonna lie, my plan came a little early because I did plan on going to college and all that, but I kind of messed up in my high school. So the fight career kind of came a little closer.
And now that you are fighting and you are taking this very seriously, what are some plans that we can expect to see from you in 2024? You were very active this year, got 2 fights in, and looking to possibly be more active in 2024, or what exactly were in the plans for Jose Guniga?
For 2024, we're gonna take maybe like a month break, maybe a quick little month break, get all settled down real quick. After that, we're gonna start. maybe another camp, maybe um 2 3 months camp, and then hopefully not sound too cocky or anything like that. Drop back down 25 and get the 559 belt like that.
That would be absolutely that would be pretty crazy if you were able to do that as well, because that would possibly be setting up. I mean, you would be fighting Gabriel Reyes there on Friday, and Ronnie Reyes and Cyrus Pover are going to be going at it for that 559 Fights interim flyweight championship. If all were to go well for you, you could possibly be fighting another one of the Reyes members, family members, or you could be going at Cyrus Pover, and that would be very interesting because I don't believe you see that very often where champions like to drop down in weight. But that would be quite the sequence of events if that were all to unfold to happen on December 22nd and January 27th. But before we get ahead of ourselves, before we get ahead to any results or anything like that, let's talk a little bit about that fight. You and Gabriel Reyes. Gabriel Reyes obviously has established his name over here at 559 Fights, has been very active this year. All of his fights coming in this past year of 2023. What exactly are your thoughts going into this fight and going against a guy that has a 4-0 record, much like yourself?
And the main thing that comes to mind is I can't be taken down. That's the main thing that's in my mind. Other than that, I just see I don't know. I don't know what to see after that. Like go with the flow, I guess. Like because the main thing
So
I'm just worried about is just not getting taken down.
so you see this fight. I know you guys both have that wrestling background, but you want to keep it up. Would you say that you're more comfortable keeping it up on the feet per se?
No, no, I'm more comfortable on the ground, but it's just I want to develop my what's it called my stand up game before pros. You know?
That's always an interesting way to see how these wrestlers kind of game plan for each other and to kind of try and scheme each other out, because it's always very difficult. It's always like, man, is this guy just going to try and go after me and try and push this pace on me for 5 rounds like a Colby Covington style, or is he going to just try and throw these hands with me? It's always very interesting when we get to see two grapplers get into that cage together. So I'm very sure that a lot of these 559 Fights fans are very excited to watch you guys go at it. But just to speak a little bit more about a couple of your fights that you've had in your past, I mean, you've just maintained the control of a lot of these people's back. Has that been something that you have been known for in the gym? Have just been keeping and working on? Because man, it seems like every single fight, as soon as you get on that back, you are not letting go, man. You're like a backpack to them.
Yep. What's it called? I actually learned that from another coach, but from in my wrestling game, Dario Loomis. We used to call this thing called backpack and crab riding, and that helps a lot, dude. Because like these guys can grind me, sit out everything, and I'll just stay on their back like 24/7.
You have managed to maintain that back control. I feel like if we were to do a tally of your career, it's like that back control time has managed to eat up a lot of that time, and that's just such an amazing feat, because you're not only just sitting on that back, but you're also applying those punches, trying to find those submissions, which is very interesting at the amateur level. Would you say that you kind of stand out in your style? Would you say that your style is a little bit more unique compared to other flyweights and bantamweights that you see?
I would like to believe that. Yeah, I like to believe my stand up or my style is a lot different from other fighters.
Yeah.
Um, my style is more dominant and more how you say it has its own little funk to it, you know?
You definitely do have it's a little bit of a funky style. I would almost compare it to it kind of reminds me a little bit of that TJ Dillashaw-esque, where you have those funky strikes and you're able to throw it in, but you also have that wrestling and you're also able to throw that in as well. So has there been any influences on your career though? Has there been anybody in the UFC level that you've been watching, anybody in the gyms that has been keeping a high level to you, to where you're like, hey man, like I look up to them every single day and they're over there pushing me?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I look up to my big dog Knock, Cisco, Bubby, all those guys right there. Um, Mostly Knock because one, he's my partner, he's already pro, and I can see myself like in that level pretty soon, you know. So
Yeah.
in my mind, it's like if he could do it, I could do it.
Is there a time trajectory that you were looking for the professional level? Is there a place in maybe where we could see you going to that professional level, A1 combat, LFA? Is there place where Jose Aguniga would prefer to make his professional debut and a time?
Honestly, I really don't know. I, I hope to be young though, you know?
You still are very young, correct? I mean, you got to be at least 21, right?
I'm 20.
20. So it's you still got the whole road ahead of you there, my man. But just a couple of last questions here for you, Jose. I really appreciate your time today. Really appreciate you stopping by and just getting to discuss this upcoming fight. But was there anybody in particular that you wanted to thank for this fight camp? I know a ton goes into this, a ton goes into every single, like how you said, 2 to 3 months at times. Was there anybody that you wanted to thank in particular for helping you out throughout this camp?
Uh, I got to thank Enoch, Bubby Lowell, um, Antonio, freaking Dario Loomis, Coach Cassidy, my family, and I got to thank um, my older brother. He put me on this sport.
Hey man, I'm very excited to see you hop back into that cage for 559 fights once again on Friday, December 22nd, as we look to head into the new year after this one. But thank you so much for your time today, Jose. It has been awesome getting to speak to you, awesome getting to know a little bit more about Jose Aguniga heading into this fight camp and heading into this fight week. It's been awesome getting to speak to you today, my man. Michael Hernandez of MLH Media, and we are going to be signing out over here for the 10-second mark with the soon to be possibly 559 Fights Bantamweight champion, Jose Aguniga.